Hey guys, it's Pickles. Welcome back to the third and last part of the history of Mel. I'm not going to stretch it now because this video is going to be very long. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and race on Nitrotype. Chapter 8. During season 25, I was on a team called TVZ, who have been around for this season and are still around today. They were pretty active beforehand, but that season was their most active yet. I would have stayed on IC9, but Blaze would eventually kick out everyone off the team because she was getting very busy. There were many active racers on IC9 at the time, so when they were all kicked, we all decided to join TBZ. Even though season 25 was their most active season, the next season was looking to be even more active. This was until Tendons would disband later on because it was getting too much to him. The same people that were on IC9 and that TBZ had to decide on yet another team to join. I was really thinking about what team to join, looking at the top teams and deciding which would be best. A couple people sent their condolences about TBZ disbanding and told me about 5HRK. I checked them out myself, and they swore on their description to be a drama-free team. I like this idea, and they seemed fairly active, so I joined them. This would lead all the others to join 5HRK as well. We were all on a new team, and everything seemed perfect this time. Though 5HRK started to become super active like they did, it was never something that Sharky and Ant wanted. This season would be my most active season ever, and also officially the very last season I would be super competitive, meaning like top 10 activity. The season started off pretty small for me and everyone else. I was doing my normal activity, racing after school, and going hard over the weekends. When this version of TVZ was still around, they would not get passed as a deleted team for a while. When we all joined 5HRK, they were currently in 4th place for the season, and just behind Talk. At first, it didn't look like we would stand a chance, but as the lead got smaller, we realized that we would go for it. Eventually, Lockdown having my most active season, the competition between 5HRK and Talk was really tight. Talk realized that they had up to their activity, and they surely did. Both teams would put up crazy numbers every day towards the end of the season. There was also an infamous account being the competition named Shakram, who popped up that season who we disliked, especially being Kocho. Being the competition was just above him in the season, it wouldn't be a problem in the end because we both would end up beating him more than 1 million points. However, this is probably what we would revolutionize account sharing today. This was the first side of major account sharing, doing it to gain position on the leaderboards. It was quite the fight in the end. 5HRK would be successful in beating out Talk for 3rd place. Kocho and I would hold our 1st and 2nd place positions respectively, with no one else being close. The reason I would end my insane activity this season was due to a few reasons. You could say the main reason was because my dad would always yell at me for being up late racing when I should be sleeping. I would never let that stop me, but I would come to realize that he was right. It was not worth it to be staying up every day just to race. At the end of the day, I gained nothing from it, except for my typing, which I can still be proud of. Coming to this conclusion, I knew that's what I should have done. I didn't let anyone stop me but myself. But it's pretty ironic because this season, I would still be fairly active, and especially during the beginning of the season. During this time, Coach herself was going very hard with her activity, just like last season. Her current session was 1,234, reflecting mine. And one day, she would achieve a session very close to this. The plan was always to stop for 30 minutes, so she would never ruin the session number. But for some reason her session glitched and it registered a few races past her old session. We were both pretty sad because our sessions weren't reflecting, all due to some stupid glitch. We needed to get them back because of this. I would go on to achieve a 4,332 session, making that my current session still today, when she would follow soon after with a 2,334 session. Getting our reflecting sessions back up after a little bump in the road, I was now currently in the top 10 since this was the beginning of the season, but that would continue to go down since I would no longer be holding that activity. However, I would still remain decently active throughout the season. Kocho, on the other hand, would not slow down one bit and would end up achieving the new season points record, one that will forever be unbreakable. This season record with over 100 million points. I find it all ironic how I was never insanely active during the two most competitive seasons. First season 21 and now season 27. That's always something pretty historical for me. And even though I wasn't as active before, it would still be pretty historical. During the season, I would officially become the second person to hit 300k races on the site. There was a competition going on in 5HRK that I decided to be active like before again, and that allowed me to hit that mark faster. Along with Kocho, there were other couple of racers who were very active that season who definitely did their part. All three of them would achieve more than 10 million points that season. What made 5HRK so unstoppable was the fact that more than half the top 10 were 5HRK members. This season showed us something that we will never witness again. Chapter 9. The next season will be interesting. They have officially announced the Nitro Type Olympics, something that hasn't been done in quite some time. They were planning to start with the new season, and I was planning to compete in the accuracy category of the Olympics. From this point, my accuracy has truly proven itself to be legendary. 5HRK still went on with their activity like normal. However, SYM would officially come back to the competitive scene. They would take the lead pretty quickly, but 5HRK didn't care all too much about that. Despite that performance of last season, they always remained drama-free the best they could. This season for me would be even more inactive compared to the last one. The requirement to qualify in a category was 1,000 races, so I knew I needed to get at least that many. Throughout my competition in the Olympics, I faced many problems. There were several individuals that were clearly race selecting and were getting an unfair lead over me. There was one racer at the beginning that I was eventually worried about, and if it wasn't for him, I would have felt pretty secure in the beginning. He would eventually get disqualified, but he wasn't the only problem. There were a few people above me who were quite obviously not legit, and would also decide to compete in the accuracy for the Olympics. Those racers would still get disqualified, thankfully. But there were a couple other racers who would stick till the very end of the Olympics. They were plants to draw and try to win for glory. They were most definitely the biggest problems for me, as before them it was looking like I would have an easy way out. Ant also knew that she had to truly try her hardest against them if she wanted to win. I didn't deliver in the end, but it was very tense because it was looking like they both would not meet the 1,000 race requirement. They would still do it, however, and they would get both second and third in the accuracy category, just behind Ant, who was able to successfully beat them. She had also won the Blitz category, which made her performance during the Olympics much more impressive. I would end up fourth in the accuracy category, but this would not matter either way. Behind the scenes of the Olympics, Kocho was racing her absolute hardest against Aiden. She knew she couldn't keep up for long at the best she could do. I wanted to help. There was nothing I could do. Until I came up with a plan to steal Aiden's account. This would have been easy to do since Pan had access to his account at the time, so I can get the information from his device. As expected, this caused a complete ruckus among the community. Everyone would soon find out that I was the one who did it from several clues. Aiden would get his account back a couple days after, and I would end up becoming the most hated person in the community. Back then, I was one of the most admired people, but it was because of this one act I was truly despised by everyone. As a result, both Kocho and I were disqualified from the Olympics. My prize wouldn't have mattered, and Kocho would not get her first place prize in the races category. Our accounts were planning to be banned very soon after what happened. We had both leave 5HRK and most of our servers, quitting Discord entirely for some months and cutting off contact with mostly everyone. Chapter 10. After we left 5HRK and basically the community, we decided to create a team of our own named RXV, which is still around today. We have always wanted to create our own team, and this was the perfect opportunity to do so. At first, the team was closed with just the two of us on the team. We were still waiting for our bans and accepted them, but they would never happen. Almost a whole month after the incident, we would both quit Discord entirely and actually focus on our lives, something we never got to do during our time on the site. I would end up coming back after just a couple months, and Kocho would not come back until way later. Even though I came back, people were starting to accept me again, and I would never go back to the activity I had both on Discord and AzureType. Because even before the incident, when I wasn't as active, my Discord activity would not change. I decided that I would only go on Discord if I got a ping or a DM from someone, or if I just wanted to talk for a few. I would not stay on Discord for hours chatting on end. I also decided that my main AzureType account would only be used for King of the Race Car achievements. I even created alts not relating to that purpose, such as when I would want to friend race or generally race, which was rare for me at the time, surprisingly. However, there was a time when I wanted to have a little fun. After this little prank pan and I pulled that anti-hacked our accounts, I decided to turn my team request to experiment. I wasn't planning anything specifically, but I saw a team that gave me an idea. It was a girls only team, and being a guy, I thought this would have been funny. So I made my profile looking girly and decided to be active for the team for one whole day. I ended up doing basically typing nightmare session, and that would be my last most active session ever, all for fun. To this day, I still don't know whether they thought I was truly a girl or just because I was Mal. Either way, I had a lot of fun doing that. After that, I would continue being inactive on my account like I was before. Flash forward some months later, after still being inactive, I decided to change things up a bit. In the beginning, I didn't think it would be possible, but I'm glad everything worked out. I decided to create an alt account, one that I would race on each and every day on SSH. Since initially I didn't think that Volatile would allow with this because she generally doesn't allow alts on the team. I was worried, but still decided to ask. I didn't think she would accept me right away either, so I was going to reach 500 races first, which is the minimum amount of races to apply to SSH. To my surprise, she would say yes to me joining and would even accept me right away. That would mean that all my races except 100 were all on SSH. From then on, I would specifically do the requirement each day, and still today. My main account would still continue to be used specifically for King of the Race Car achievements. Now instead of grinding, I have been truly able to focus on actually becoming a better typist. I can't deny that I've grown during my time grinding on the site, but not doing so helps so much better. Epilogue. That is it for the story of me, Mal. The rise and fall, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything in between. It's safe to say that I've really enjoyed my time throughout the site, and overall will continue to. But as I continue to get more busy in life, I can also say I'm glad that I'm not the one to grind the game anymore. I feel like I stopped at the perfect time, when things truly got hectic. The game is falling apart, and the competition is filled with account sharers and botters. So it's great to live and not have to think about any of that stuff anymore. Life will go on, and I will continue to improve my typing and treat this game the way it deserves to be treated, like a typing game. So yeah, that's basically the history of Mal. This is the final part, and I hope you guys enjoyed all three. If you haven't watched all three, make sure to go watch those two, and shout out to Mal for making this possible. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.